Are you a first-time home buyer trying to decide between a resale home or a new build? Hi, Catherine with the Thomas Group and Real Broker, your local Las Vegas and Henderson realtors. If you're a first-time home buyer trying to decide between a resale home and a new build, I'm going to give you some of the main differences between the two. So you found a home and we're ready to write an offer. Let's start with resales. First, I'm going to run comparables on the home and make sure it's listed properly and reach out to the listing agent and see if the seller needs anything like a lease back or possibly a longer escrow. Once writing the offer, I'm going to try to negotiate the best terms for you and possibly get you any closing costs. Now, this is going to depend on where the market is though. If it's a seller's market or there's multiple offers, might not be as easy to do. But talking to the listing agent first will give us a gauge on what we need to start with. For a new build home, the contract will be written up on the builder's forms, and it's a little bit less negotiating power, but we will make sure that any rate buy downs or incentives are included. And a lot of the quick move-in options, we are seeing a lot of incentives right now, and especially if it's close to the end of the quarter. The next major step will be your earnest money deposit once the offer is accepted. This is ensuring that you want the seller to take their house off the market and that you're serious about buying it. Now with a resale, it's usually due within 2 business days wired to the title company after acceptance. The amount will vary on the price of the house and is negotiable. For a new build, they're pretty set with their earnest money deposit numbers, and it is due right away to pull that house off the market. In both cases, with resale and new build, your earnest money deposit will go towards your down payment amount. The next step will be your contingencies. Let's start with resale. Your first one is going to be your due diligence period. So it's usually about 7 to 10 days, and we're gonna wanna get all your inspections done and your request for repairs written up and agreed upon. I'll help you negotiate that. During this due diligence period though, you can back out for any reason and get your earnest money deposit back. Now on the new build side, you don't really have a due diligence period, but you do have 5 days in which you can cancel and get your earnest money deposit back. Your next contingency will be your appraisal. Now it's only going to be a contingency for a resale, and it's usually about 12 to 14 days. During this time, the appraisal will come in. If it's at list price or at what we've offered, then you're good to go. If it's above, you're gonna have some instant equity. Now let's talk about if the appraisal is below the purchase price in the contract. The lender is only gonna lend on the appraisal amount. So there's a couple things that can happen here. Either the seller can come down in the purchase price to the appraisal, you guys can meet in the middle, or you can come up to the purchase price. Now, if you meet in the middle or come up to the purchase price, it would be additional cash out of your pocket. But say that's not an option for you. This is a point where you can still cancel and get your earnest money deposit back if the seller is not willing to come down to the appraisal price. Now let's talk about the new build side of this. There will still be an appraisal for the new build side, and a lender is only going to lend on the appraisal still. Now this is not a contingency though, or a point where you can back out for a new build. I have seen, however, if the appraisal comes in lower than the purchase price for a new build, we can sometimes negotiate, and I've seen builders meet you in the middle. Now your final contingency will be a contingency for both resale and new build. This is the loan contingency. For a resale, it's about 21 days, similar to a new build, but at this point, if anything happens and you're no longer able to qualify for the loan, this is another point when you're able to back out and get your earnest money deposit back. All right, let's talk about your walkthroughs, starting with the resale side. Usually this is done about 3 days before closing. Now what do we do in your walkthrough? Well, we're gonna make sure that anything that's supposed to still be there, such as refrigerator, washer, dryer, not only are they still there, but they are the same ones and in the same condition as when you first saw the house. We're also gonna make sure that any repairs that were negotiated and agreed upon in the request for repairs have been taken care of. Now, some of these you're gonna say, but we can't really just see them. So if it's done by a licensed contractor, anyone with a license, we will get the receipt for it to have proof that the repair was done. Now let's talk about new builds. Depending on if you're building from the ground up or if you're doing a quick move-in is gonna vary on how many walkthroughs you have. If you're doing a build from the ground up, you're gonna get your first walkthrough being the structural walkthrough. You get to see everything before the drywall is put into place. Now your second walkthrough for the ground up, or your first walkthrough for a quick move in, is going to be your orientation. You're going to walk through the house. The builder is going to tell you where everything is, from your AC condenser, any pipes, anything that you're going to need to know about the home. Now we're also going to do what I like to call the blue tape walkthrough. We're going to put blue tape on anything that still needs to be fixed, whether it's cosmetic like paint or anything that your inspector saw that needs to be fixed. Yes, I said inspector. You do still want to get an inspection done on a new build and before your first walkthrough if it's your quick move-in, or your second walkthrough if it's built from the ground up. They're going to be able to see things that we can't see from just walking around, and I'll get all that information over to the new build before your orientation walkthrough to make sure they fix these items as well. Your final walkthrough for a new build is going to be on your closing day. Now this walkthrough is going to be similar to resale, where we make sure that all the items that needed to be fixed have been fixed. And if there's not a receipt for items that we can't see, we can ask the builder to have pictures taken or to show us that they are working. All right, so let's talk about the final steps, your signing and closing day. Now, once the lender has all of the documents ready to go, they're gonna send them over to the title escrow company, and then title escrow is gonna reach out to you for signing. If you're in the state or local, you can do it in person. If not, a mobile notary is an option. Now, before you sign all of your documents, you will get an estimated settlement statement. This is gonna show all of your debits and your credits and what you still owe and need to wire before closing. Now this can be done either before you sign or after, whatever you're comfortable with, but once everything has been wired and signed, the lender will then send the funds to the title company, and once that's received, the title company can send everything to the recorder's office. Once it's recorded, that's when I can give you the keys. Now, signing can happen a couple days before closing or day of closing. For resales, we see a lot more the day of closing, and we want to make sure we get you scheduled for first thing in the morning so it has time to record and you can get keys the same day. Now for new builds, we usually see signing done a couple days ahead of time, and then you'll still be able to do your final walkthrough, send everything to the recorder, and hopefully get your keys the same day. So these are just bullet points and an overview for both the resale and the new build process. It is a lot of information, but don't worry, I will be there every step of the way with you. And before we even start looking at houses, we'll sit down and go over this all again. I want to make sure that this largest purchase that you're going to make is as stress-free as possible. I'll make sure to remind you of any upcoming dates or anything that needs to be done. Whether you're a first-time home buyer and this is all new to you, you're relocating from a different state and we do it a little bit different, or you're buying another home and just want to make sure that you have someone with you every step of the way, please reach out with any of your questions. I'm more than happy to answer them. My name is Catherine. I'm extension 6 at our number below, or you can reach us at thethomasgrouplv.com. I can't wait to help you buy your new home.